Hey, it's Emma Romano here, founder of the Thrive and Life Foundation, self-healing coach, and the midwife to your personal alchemy.
I am Kelly Bowen, founder of the Heaven Within Foundation, CEO of Lifestyle Finance Australia, finance expert, life and business coach.
And you are listening to Inspired Conversations,
where we talk about the things that really matter. Yes, we go there.
We share together what's exciting us, inspiring us, and having the most profound impact on our lives and our clients' lives. And we do this to elevate and inspire you.
We cover it all from life, body, love, relationships, trauma healing, addictions, business, money, and all things woo-woo.
So sit back, relax,
and get ready to be inspired and laugh the fuck out loud.
Good morning and good evening, good whatever time it is you're listening or watching this podcast. I'm Emma Romano and this is the amazing, delicious
Kelly Bowen, and you are listening to Inspired Conversations with us, and we have a juicy topic for you today. What are we talking about, Em?
Oh, we are talking about the delicious topic of speaking your truth, right? But also the bullshit behind speaking your truth, because it is this real little sentence that people throw around to excuse their behavior of upsetting people. Yeah, but I'm just speaking my truth. You know, they'll drop a bombshell, like a bomb of words, and they'll really hurt somebody or hurt something. And they say, yeah, but I'm just speaking my truth. Like, that's the excuse. That's what we're talking about today.
Yes. And I think it's so important that we speak to this, because I'm such a big believer of speaking your truth and expressing how you feel and having those challenging conversations in relationships, because relationships really are the key or the heart of our happiness and fulfillment in life. And the better we get at doing relationships, the more richness we experience within life. However, with a big asterisk beside it, that unless we learn how to speak our truth in a way that is loving and doesn't suck all the oxygen out of the room, we might walk away feeling great because we've expressed ourselves, but we've done sometimes irreparable damage to our relationship. Because I think I see these memes going around all the time, like the tongue has no bones, no somethings, yet it can cut deeper and leave scars that sometimes never heal. And that's how powerful our words can be. And when we are careless with them and we get caught in our own universe of what's going on, and often when we haven't built this muscle around expressing and speaking our truth, it can literally come out like, as what Em said, a word vomit, where you really hurt the other person. So we want to have a bit of a chat about, like, what is healthy self-expression and what is healthy speaking your truth. And then we'll go into some of the shadows of this, and we'll take you on a journey and bring you out the other side with some really cool tools and strategies, so that if that button does get pressed and you feel that you really need to speak to something, you know how to do this with love that serves you, the other person, and the greater good.
Yeah, so I have to tell you, I have to have a big confession here, guys. I used to be, but I'm only speaking my truth kind of person years ago. And it's when I started learning the power of words and what words mean, and that words are a spell. That's why they call it spelling. What you say hurts. Yeah. What you can say can really elevate somebody and can really make them feel amazing. And sometimes, you know, and what you say can help somebody grow. But then also words can cut somebody down at the knees. And I've always, you know, I used to be that person. I used to be very blunt and very severe. Yeah, but you need to hear this for your own growth, not thinking, not being in compassion or empathy of where that person's at or anything like that. And really what it was, I was pushing my own agenda. That's why I did it. You know, and now that I'm so aware of it and educated in it, I feel better about myself, and the frequency that I hold and then I hold around others is so much better as well. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to actually help you guys. If anybody, or if you know somebody in your life who's a word vomiter, but in the most negative way, let's help them out.
Yeah.
Let's help you guys out as to find out where they're coming from, how you can handle it, what triggers it, what it triggers, how to make it better, how to speak your pure self and in a much more high vibrational, much better, authentic, light way rather than that shadow toxic way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting that you say that. Like, it's such a powerful insight. And, you know, I want to take a moment to acknowledge you for taking that journey, because to have the courage to even look at that and to sit with that, and be like, oh, you know, in my hurt, I'm actually hurting other people more, and I'm going to find a way to do better. That takes a lot of courage. And
yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow. It really is. It's a hard pill to swallow because we never want to be wrong.
No,
we don't want. We go, yes, but I've been told to speak my truth. You know, my truth was exactly that. It's mine. It's no one else's.
Yeah, and you're going to hear it. And it's funny that you, like, I was the complete opposite side of that. So I was always it was easy for me to understand where somebody was coming from, or to assume the best in them. And what I would do is I would try and resolve it within myself and take the high road and never actually express my truth, and end up creating resentment. And then eventually what I would do would just be move away from the person or cut the person out, or find myself in loops of hurt and be like, I'm fucking addicted to this emotion. I don't understand why I keep finding myself in loops of hurt. And it's because I never learned how to build this muscle until a few years ago, of how to speak my truth when it happens, and not take on the responsibility for trying to resolve my hurt, and find a way to be able to communicate it to somebody else in a way that had us create more intimacy, more connection, more love, and more trust in the relationship, whether it be intimate, professional, or personal. So let's dive in. So in terms of, what would you say, Em, would be a healthy form of speaking your truth?
So for me, there's certain steps leading up to it. Very first one is, what's my intention? So the very first thing is my intention to clear this for me but hurt the other person? Then you need to do it a different way. Or is my intention that this person is going to receive this information in the most glorious and beautiful way? That's a better intention. So that's the intention. It's like an agreement. What am I in agreement with, right? What's my intention? The second one is always ask for permission. Permission is everything. I ask for permission all day. I even ask for permission, like if I want to have a 5-minute conversation with my husband during work hours. He's a chippy and he's a foreman. He's very busy. But if I want to have a vent, or like, oh, the bloody kids or something like that, or the freaking dog done something, I will text him, hey, babe, have you got 5 minutes for me? And if he says, not right now, babe, I'm in a meeting, give me an hour, it's permission. Yep. Because if I just ring him and go, fucking dog with fucking kids, and he goes, babe, I can't talk to you, right? And then he goes, babe, I'm in a meeting, that just fuels my fire because I haven't asked for permission. So permission is everything. You know, have you got a minute to hear something from me?
Yeah.
This is not sitting well right with me. Are you open for me to having a chat with you about it? And if that person says, no, I am not, you have to honor and have empathy for their space, because they may not be ready for that kind of personal growth.
Yeah.
Not everyone is on your personal growth, tour journey.
Yeah. Or even just in the right space for it. Like I had an experience recently where I was so unprepared for a conversation that just got dumped on me. And like it literally spun my whole nervous system into a spin. Like it took me time to even calibrate my nervous system before I could even hear what the other person was trying to share with me. Yeah. And I think like when we're needing to speak our truth in these more delicate situations, it's so important that we give the other person the opportunity to show up in their best possible, highest version of themselves to be able to receive what we've got to share. And I just think that permission piece that you're talking about, Em, is so important because it gives them a moment to energetically prepare, to from a spiritual place prepare, and just it opens the door or gives them the opportunity, like, look, not now, can we XYZ, so that they do have the opportunity to show up that way for you.
Exactly.
And it avoids
yeah,
and it avoids you feeling more hurt, not seen, not understood, not validated. Great. So
yeah. So the first one's intention. Second one is ask for permission. Yep. And then the third one is ask them, how do you want to hear it?
That's sexy.
How do you want to hear it? So say if I want to dump something on Anthony, my husband, or say my PA or my bestie or whatever, or to you, Kel. Like say that you and I have an upset and go, hey, Kel, so my intention is that you and I from this conversation are going to have a bigger, better, closer bond, right? So I'd say that's my intention. 2, permission. Hey, Kel, something came up for me the other day in our conversation. Are you open to having a chat about it? I might need to just express some stuff. And then, okay, yes, I've got permission. How do you want to hear it?
That's so sexy. I just love that question. How do you want to hear it?
So it could be, so my son, Jack, always wants it texted. Why? Because he's an auditory person. Isn't that interesting? So he doesn't want to hear something that might upset him, but he's happy to read it. Because he's not a visual person, he's an auditory person. So he processes with his ears more. Not with his visual. And what I mean by that is, people will process information differently. Some people are very visual, some people are auditory, some people are kinesthetic. So I'm very visual kinesthetic. I have no auditory in me at all. So if you tell me how to get to the shops and you go out, turn left, turn, you've lost me. I'm
me
like,
too.
No.
Yeah, me too.
Don't ever explain instructions to me.
Don't get it.
Give me a video.
Yep.
I've got it. Right?
Give me the blue dot, draw a picture, no problem.
Exactly right. Yep. Take me there and I've got it.
Yeah.
So with Jack, for instance, who's auditory, will not want to hear something upsetting auditory because it's too much. But if he reads it, it almost like softens it. And he always says, when you've got something to say to me that you might think that I don't want to hear, I want you to put lots of love hearts on it so I know you're not cross with me. Now he's 20. So I'm not talking about a 5 or a 10-year-old kid here. I'm talking about a 20-year-old man.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is gold. So I go, how do you want to hear it?
So good. And even I just like that whole thing of like him receiving it in a text message. It gives him that opportunity to be that one step of dissociation in terms of being able to absorb the data without all of the other senses as well.
So he's not
emotionally
overwhelmed. Yeah, there's no sensory overwhelm for him. Whereas my other son Ben, who's extremely visual, no auditory at all, wants to hear it. And he wants me to stand beside him, not look at him eye to eye, stand with him and walk the dog. So we walk every day, and that's if there's I mean, there's not really much that I have to say, but if there's something, it'll be side by side walking down the road, and he wants me to here's how specific Ben is. He wants it in his left ear, not his right ear.
Wow.
There you go. It's all permission. It's so much permission there.
Wow, it's amazing. Like I was just thinking about like trying that on, like if I was to hear something, I always like receiving things in a compliment sandwich. Like if
oh yes,
I
exactly.
love
How do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I love the compliment sandwich. Like if I've done something, I'd want you to first assume generously of me that I was never doing something to upset you to begin with, and that if I knew that I would definitely do it different, and to give it to me in a compliment sandwich, and I receive it beautifully every time.
Yeah, so compliment sandwich, guys, for those who are listening, this is it. You say something really lovely, then you say something at a stretch, like what you know,
what the problem is,
or the
growth area.
The shit. That's the shit. And then it's something lovely as well.
Yeah.
So it could be, hey, I really need to sort of get something off my chest. My intention is one, that this is going to make our relationship bigger, stronger, more soul connected. That's my intention too. I need an agreement. Hey, Kel, is it all right if we have a chat about something? It was something that was said the other day, and it's just sitting weird with me. Is that okay with you? Yes, that's okay with me. 3, how do you want to hear it? Oh, you can just message it to me, or let's get on the phone now, or let's do a Zoom, or let's catch up. Okay, that's 3. 4, Kelly is like, now I know that Kelly loves a compliment sandwich. Kel, you know how much I fucking love the shit out of you. This is what it was. You know, you did fart really loudly on our Zoom call the other day. And it kind of, you know,
excuse yourself.
Triggered a trauma. And then I would say, you know, another beautiful thing I would say to Kelly is like, I just love that we have this kind of relationship, that we can do this together. But no way have I just got on the phone and gone, Kelly, I just need to speak my truth. Now, I don't even know if her cat's sick, or if she's on the phone to someone else, or she's just broken up with someone, or she's had an argument with her mom. I have no idea, but I'm just speaking my truth. It's not. You might be speaking, I might be speaking my truth in that space, but I'm also being a fucktard.
Yep.
You know, it's complete toxic behavior. It's very narcissistic behavior. Very ego-driven. There is no growth in it, and no growth for me either. You're at a standstill, because the frequency is not of a high frequency. It's low. It's I know, fuck it, I'm going to feel better about myself right now, and Kelly's not going to like it. There is no growth in that for either people.
No, not at all. It's just, it literally sucks the oxygen out of the air.
100%.
And it's designed, there's very much a hierarchy template in that, being that, you know, something's happened that's made me feel small. Now I'm going to overpower you. So it's like this, there's no unity in that. There's no coming together. It's kind of, it's a tit for tat. It's like 2 wrongs never make a right. And this really, I love that framework. I use like a similar kind of framework, a little bit different. I just love that extra bit that you've added in there, Em, about how do you want to hear it? Because that sets the other person up to win. And I see so many times with like this, where these sorts of conversations where you need to speak your truth go wrong, is that people don't set the other person up to win. They set them up with so many assumptions, and they set them up to fail. And I think this is like, we've really got to take this, you should know, like that this whole assumption that the other person should know what's going on, or should know what they did wrong, or should be aware of whatever it is with how you're feeling. We need to take all of these assumptions out of off the table, and we need to start thinking generously about the people we love. We need to start assuming that they love us and they would never intentionally hurt us, and learn to do these frameworks better. And, you know, thinking generously means that I'm going to assume that if something happens between us, I'm going to assume that you love me, you would never want to hurt me, and that if I was to share with you something that did hurt me, you would want to acknowledge it, and then we would come to some new form of agreement to ensure that that doesn't happen again moving forward. And I think when we start to follow these frameworks, and we build this muscle of thinking generously about the people we love in our life, otherwise why the fuck are they there? But we start thinking generously of them, and then we step up into this next level of responsibility in managing how a conversation goes, we set the other person up to win. And even going as far as, how do you want to hear it, just creates this space to give the information to the person in a way that's going to calibrate with their nervous system. Because remember, we're always calibrating nervous systems. And if you've got to speak an uncomfortable truth about something, then you've already dealing with a dysregulated nervous system. And it's going to be challenging for you. And so when you share this with the other person, you want to the best of your ability, not create more dysregulation in their nervous system, because then you start relating through defense mechanisms. And that never leads to anything good. Whereas this actually creates a space for you to stay in harmony with your nervous system, to create that more love, connection, and unity between the two of you, and build those really strong, healthy relationships. And, you know, I'd like to bookend with, like, once you've done the how you want to hear it, like, then create an agreement moving forward of the new behavior and actionable things.
Yep. Because that whole thing of, I'm just speaking my truth, you know, that toxic one, you're just backing someone in a corner, and there's only two places for them to go, is to fight you or run.
Yeah. Or collapse and fall in a heap.
The other two, which is fall or freeze. Yep. But nothing is healthy. Nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what I say to all my, because, you know, I do a lot of relationship work. And I always say to all the people I take through relationship sovereignty, I go, it's a really quick point of thumb to ask yourself in your head before you're about to the word dump. Is this elevating us, or is this fucking us up? There's only two ways. You can't be a stalemate. So it's either, is this going to elevate us? Is this going to make it better for us? Not just for me, but for us. So I can sit in the moment and go, oh yeah, if I word vomit all over Anthony, I'm going to feel way better. But he's Anthony. No. So it's fucking us up. There's only two ways. So every conversation that I have, every truth bomb or whatever I have to say has to be lifting our relationship, has to be elevating our relationship. There has to be growth. Because if you don't grow, what are you doing? You're fucking dying.
Yep.
And I don't want my relationship to die, especially now. You know, I'm 51, and this is the time I really want to elevate our relationship, because I don't want one of those boring relationships. I want an exciting relationship, a passionate relationship, which we've got. But that is because all our conversations, no matter how hard they are, how bad they can get, or how serious they can get, they will always be from 1, intention, 2, permission, 3, how do you want to hear it? And then the 4th is the sandwich, and they're always to elevate us. They might be hard to feel, but when you've got that system, when you've got that plan, I mean, don't get me wrong, if Anthony has to do this with me, it doesn't always feel nice. But that's only for a minute or 2 or maybe half an hour. You know, and then it's like, okay, now we can move forward. It's so healthy and it's so beautiful. And I especially speak to mums and fathers who have lost communication with their children. I say, start doing this, because I bet you are just word vomiting all over your kids.
Yeah.
And they'll say, yeah, I did. And when, I don't know why we're going down this path, but I think it's really important right now. A lot of parents who have lost communication with their children is because they came from a behaviorist kind of parenting. Your behavior was more important than your emotion. So if you don't have a behavior that's making me feel good about me right now, don't be sad. You got no right to be sad. Stop being so loud. Stop being this, stop being that. So we shut our children down emotionally. And then when they get older, they go, can't make mum or dad happy, which makes me feel bad. So I'm out.
Yeah.
And if you start introducing the intent, the agreements, the permission, the sandwich, your relationship will work better over time. It won't be the first time. It won't be the second, third, fifth, sixth, or maybe the 10th time. But keep doing it regularly for a year, then you've got your kids back.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, like, this is something that you have to be consistent with, because the other, if you have been somebody that was sort of that used to word vomit, the people in your world that are now like receiving this framework from you, they have to get used to trusting it.
Yes.
And trusting that you're going to consistently be this person. And if you're on the other side of the equation, excuse me, like I was, then this is going to be new for people to receive from you. And you're going to feel really uncomfortable because your old pattern is, I'll just go deal with it myself. Like, no, anytime you hear those words of, I'll take the high road, that's where you've got to step in to have the conversation. And even though you might be have that muscle so built at dealing with it, all you're doing is creating resentment and separation in the relationship that happens so gradually over time, you don't realize until it's like, oh, I'm just not connected with that person anymore, which isn't true. It's because you let all those moments of, I won't say anything, I'll just take the high road, come between you and them, and having some of the most phenomenal relationships in your life that make your life so delicious. So you can be on either side of this equation where it's going to take work. So if you're on the overexpressive side, practice this. People are going to need to learn to trust you, that this is how you deal with things moving forward, that you're not going to vomit all over them, and that you can manage and navigate through a conversation like this. And if you haven't been, then you've got to step up and you've got to start having those conversations and asking people, like, do you have time to hear this? How would you like to hear it? My greatest intention for the conversation is. You've got to build that muscle.
Yeah.
And you can even pre-frame and say, hey, look, I'm practicing this new thing where I am learning how to speak my truth and what's going on for me. And I'm going to be a little bit clunky with it. However, my intention is through this conversation, I want to create more connection with us, more love, and have us feel more trust with each other. I do have something that I need to share with you. Is now okay, or is there going to be a better time? And hear them out, see what they say. Then, and they'll probably be shocked too. If you haven't been doing this, they'll be like, sure, of course I want to hear it. And then okay, how would you like to hear it? And for some people, they're like, I don't know. And you can always go with the compliment sandwich. Really great thing, the problem thing, finish with a really great thing. It's a pretty safe bet if they go, I don't know how I want to hear it. And then you can teach them, like, you can actually have a little bit of fun with it and like start exploring, like, how do they like to hear things? How do you like to hear things? So you start to build your own manual of like how to have the best connections and relationships with your friends, family members, kids, business partners and associates, intimate partner. Like, it'll totally revolutionize the way you do everything.
Because our biggest intent really should be, I feel the world would be very different if we all became master communicators.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I think the whole world would be completely different. So my mission is to master communication.
Me too. I love communication and human behavior from that perspective.
That's my absolute intent, is to be able to communicate and everyone be able to receive the message that, one, that they are fucking amazing people, and two, that you can always feel better and you can heal, but we can't go around the world with these little bombs of these truth bombs. I'm just speaking my toxic truth, throw a freaking hand grenade at someone and go, why you feel all blown up now? You just threw a hand grenade at them. And you've got to ask yourself, if I said this to me, would it hurt me? Mm-hmm. And if you go, no, it wouldn't hurt me at all, then it's definitely going to hurt you.
It's building that muscle of empathy, isn't it? And it's
and compassion, empathy and compassion.
Yeah.
It's so, you've got to be compassionate. Even if you don't want to be empathetic, be compassionate. If you don't want to step in that other person's shoes, just have compassion for that person. Because our truth is just literally a bunch of old events, beliefs, and emotions from our past. And all our emotions, all our events, all our beliefs are completely freaking different from person to person.
Mm-hmm.
That's what your truth is. And then you try and make it up according to those old beliefs, those old events, those old emotions. So, I mean, we can all go to the one party and come back with all different stories. Someone can go to, you can go to the same movie and someone loves it and the other person hates it. And it's only because of your belief systems, your morals, your values, the events from your past and all of that. So yeah, your truth is your truth, but it may not be the truth for other people.
Yeah. And it's transient and it's flexible depending upon like what was true for me 12 months ago is not necessarily my truth now.
So true, isn't it, Kel? Oh my God.
It's so fluid. And there's like this framework we've given you is a really great general framework that would recommend implementing immediately and start playing with it. And also like sometimes it is a little bit harder because things happen and like where people really do need to be called on behavior. And even still when that happens, there was something I saw on I love Instagram reels. I get probably spend too much time on them. Anyway, this particular one, I wish I could remember who it was that was talking about this, but they were talking about women expressing anger because it's an emotion that we get told, like conditioned from a collective perspective, like be a good girl, be nice. So when we feel these anger emotions, we kind of don't know what to do about them. And they can come out, like when we start to express them, they can come out quite bitchy or like these speak my truth bombs. And there was a really great little piece that he spoke about here. So I'm always a big believer of if something's happened and your nervous system is dysregulated, always step away, regulate your nervous system, then come back to the conversation. And if you're in conversation and you feel like that's starting to rise and you can feel like the adrenaline rising or the anger and you can feel that you're losing connection to yourself, you can simply ask for a nervous system break. Just say, look, I can feel myself leaving my body. Can we take a break and come back? That's like always a big advocate of that. And what he spoke about in this message was women, when we're angry and we need to express this, feel our heart beating in our chest as we speak, because that's going to connect us back to our heart space. And it also allows the other person to receive more of our heart in our words if we find ourselves caught out in a moment situation. So I'm always like, preferably go regulate first, then come back. However, if you're caught in it and you need to express, and there is anger there, then feel the heart beating in your chest, because that's going to connect you back into your body, back into that space. And then you can express it through the filter of heart and love.
I've got a top tip on how to quickly regulate your nervous system as well, if this helps anybody. I cannot remember who taught me this. I think I did a breath work thing, and I think it was there. I can't remember. It was a 4 square. So imagine a square, and you breathe in on the count of 4, you hold for 4, you breathe out for 4, you hold for 4, and you do it 4 times. That's just one trick that I know. You can literally go back. But another one is you just got to tell yourself, am I safe? I'm safe. I can feel the clothes of my skin. I'm not dying. I'm not in danger. I am safe. I'm okay. And that's another one. Have you got any tips, Kel, on how to regulate?
There's a couple. So this I learned in the polyvagal space. There was a course I did last year with my friend Freya. She runs Pleasure After Trauma. It is an incredible course, and she talks about vagal toning. So even if you like Google or YouTube vagal toning, you'll get lots of different ways of doing this. So one way is you can, for those of you that are watching us on YouTube, you'll be able to see me doing this, but for those that aren't, you fold your arms over. So you fold your arms like this. So hold your elbows and lift your arms up at shoulder level, and you can twist from side to side, which will help tone the vagal nerve. And I think if you also add in, there's a sound. I'm terrible at toning, so it's going to sound, so apologize for everybody's ears that are going to hear this. However, it is really effective. So that's the move you make. So you cross your arms and you twist from side to side. Then
Should I warn them to let all dogs not hear what you're about to do?
It's not quite that bad.
If your dogs and cats start going crazy, it's because Kelly Bowen's about to phone.
Then there is there's a sound, it's VU, and it sounds like VU. And you want to make that sound as you're moving your elbows side to side. So it's like this, is like VU. And what this does is your vagus nerve runs from the top of your forehead all the way down through, like, along your spine, and it literally touches every single organ in your body, right down to men. It goes all the way down into their stomach, and for women it actually connects all the way down into our cervix, which is why often, like, when you're looking at sexual trauma, that's where it's stored there, and it's such a somatic thing, because this vagus nerve runs the whole way through our body. It's responsible for so much, and our nervous system. So when we do this, like, cross the arms and make that sound, it's VU, it actually tones and relaxes every single organ in the body. So if you do find yourself in a heated conversation, you can feel that the adrenaline starting to take over, and you can feel yourself, you're either wanting to go into a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. Ask for a time out, go in a room, and you can either do what Em did, you can do the box breathing, you can do the tone, the vagal toning, so the VU, and making that movement. Even just the VU on its own, doing like 5 cycles of that will really help calm your nervous system and tell your body it is safe.
How cool is that? I'm so stealing that. Thanks, Kel.
Yeah. So it's a really common thing. If you've done any work in the polyvagal space, trauma space, they talk about this a lot, about toning the vagal nerve and bringing you back into that parasympathetic response. I need to check that. I always get the two. Sympathetic response is when you're in the fight, flight, freeze, and the parasympathetic is when you're in relax, rest, and digest. And that just brings you back into that state of relaxation.
Yeah. Sympathetic dominance was in flight, flight. Yeah.
Yeah. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn.
Yeah. Perfect. Oh my God. What a freaking great podcast, if I may say so myself.
There was a lot in there. So I'd love to know, like, moving forward, how do you go with these conversations? Just remember the final just remember is that whenever you need to communicate with somebody how you're feeling, try not to do the "you made me feel," because that is like it's like waving a red rag at a bull, and the person will be less likely to take on what you say if you do the "you made me feel." So this is like when we were talking earlier about always assuming generously about the other person. So you could do with the so my intention is to create more connection and love, and I need to share something with you. Is that okay? Is now a good time to do that? And they say yes, and go, okay, well, how would you like to hear it? And they tell you how I'd like to hear it. And then you can go, look, I know that you never would have meant to hurt me, and I assume that this is whatever positive thing. When this happened, I felt, insert how you feel. Moving forward, this is what I would like. And it allows you to take ownership for what you feel, because nobody can make you feel anything. And as Em was saying earlier, your truth is based upon your current beliefs, values, and decisions you've made about a whole bunch of past things that are being brought forward into this now moment. So when you take away the "you made me feel," it allows you to take responsibility for how you feel. And when this happened, I felt. So it allows it to stay with you, and it's not placing blame external to you, and it allows the other person to take on what you're saying and be willing to make a change in their behavior.
Boom, drop the mic.
And if they're not willing to, and this is how, somebody who's not narcissistic, they will take on this feedback and they will make the changes, and you will grow together. If somebody is not willing to take on the feedback of a reasonable request and they keep doing the same thing, then that's when you look at, do I want to keep this relationship around? Is it is this, adding value to my life? Because if they're not willing to change unhealthy behavior or consider you in a reasonable way, then you've got every right to start asking those other questions of is this relationship actually adding value to my life?
Yep. Exactly right. Guys, we hope you really enjoyed and got a lot out of this podcast today. We love doing these podcasts to inspire you, help you out in your day-to-day, especially with communication, your self-worth, your love. We want you to know that actually everyone listening to this right now, whether you can say this out loud or just to yourself, just put one hand on your heart, put one hand on your belly button. This will really ground you, and just say, say your name.
I, Kelly,
Emma,
am
fucking amazing. Yeah!
Woo!
Guys, we'll see you in the next podcast.
Big love.
Love you.
Bye.